Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the challenges and how to beat the challenges for Infinite Dragon Ball history. So this is the latest stage of Infinite Dragon Ball history. It's technically the latest stage, but you will see it at stage 18. That's because we got the Saiyan Day stage before it, so it kind of went a little bit out of order. So we got stage 18 here against the 25th World Tournament category units, and overall it's a pretty interesting kind of challenge, I guess. It's really quite a slight change to some of the previous Infinite Dragon Ball histories, which I quite like, and we'll talk about that just now. But the team build we're going for is a full Earthlings team. The challenge is to use 3 World Tournament units and to use 3 Earthlings units. So we're going to go with a full Earthlings team, and then that's kind of going to be how we take on this challenge. So yeah, the challenges are for 3 World Tournament category units and 3 Earthlings category units. There's also a mission for completing it within 15 turns. I myself not too concerned about that one. The only reason is because it's quite difficult to do with the team build we're going with. We're going with kind of a full free-to-play team build, and we'll talk about that just now. But this event's quite interesting. It starts off really slow with Pintar, and then it goes into Videl, who's immune to attack lowering. Then Gohan comes out, and Gohan's quite challenging actually. He's pretty tough, and then it kind of drops back down again and then picks up again. So it's quite an interesting layout for this event overall. We've gone with a full Earthlings team, so led by Krillin, who's a 150% Earthlings category lead with 4 key as well. He raises his attack on his 12 key and raises his attack and defense permanently on his 18 key. He has key and defense of plus 30,000, attack of 20,000 when performing a super attack. He also gains an additional attack of 20,000 when doing an ultra super attack. He gains key plus 3 when facing only one enemy, and he also launches an additional attack when facing multiple enemies, but that's not too important. He's going to be the mainstay on either rotation for us. His stacking defense will make him pretty decent as a tank throughout the entire event, and he'll have relatively strong defense the whole way through. We're then going to have on the other rotation a combination, so we're going to have Hercule and Buu, and then we're going to have Hercule. So the LR Hercule obviously is probably the most difficult unit to get on this team. LR Hercule, he's the most difficult because of his Extreme Z Awakening. So his Extreme Z Awakening costs like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of million of Zenny, and it's very difficult to get right off the bat, so that's probably going to be the most difficult unit. Hercule himself is very solid. He raises his attack and defense by 50% for 3 turns on his 18 key. He has a great chance of key plus 7 and attack plus 77%, and key plus 3 and defense of 77% for 3 turns from the start of battle. He also has a high chance of evading enemies' attack for 3 turns after receiving attack. So even though his defense is going to drop down, as long as we keep getting 18 keys, Hercule will be fine. It's kind of the reason why we've paired him up with the Buu and Hercule unit. So the Buu and Hercule unit is just a pretty good unit in general. Buu and Hercule, they start off as Hercule obviously, which is just kind of a somewhat tanky unit with damage reduction and evasion, who also, can provide support, but then when they exchange, they become a very good guard unit. So they gain guard because they are next to Hercule, and we will also have support for Hercule as well of 2 key and 30%. So overall, that's going to be our main tank in the other rotation. So Gohan here, just to take reference to this, in this IDBH, Gohan's one of the tougher units, and he pops up quite early, so don't feel too bad about maybe popping an item, especially if you're copying this team build. Rather pop an item here now to keep yourself safe and keep yourself topped up on health while you keep building up like stacks, while you keep getting all your units set up and your rotation set up. I mean, here you can see we took a lot of damage from Gohan. Like I said, he's pretty rough, he's pretty tough, so don't feel too bad using an item. He is immune to stunning, sealing, he is immune to stunning, he is immune to attack lowering. So he's quite a handful to deal with, and he can hit relatively hard early on, so it is important to kind of be aware of that and try and keep that under control. So in terms of the other units on the team, we do have the Master Roshi and TN unit, and we also have the LR Master Roshi. So the Master Roshi and TN unit obviously work great in conjunction with the Master Roshi LR. They have attack and defense of 70%, with an additional attack and defense of 20%, with each attack received, which is super duper helpful, up to 70%. And then they also give representatives of Universe 7 allies Ki +3 and attack and defense of 40%, which is pretty helpful overall. It's really going to help out in keeping our Master Roshi topped up and with very decent defense throughout the entire event. Master Roshi himself has defense of 120%, with a medium chance of evading enemies' attack. He gives total score allies Ki +3 and attack and defense of 40%, and if his HP is 50% or less at the start of an attacking character's turn, and there are 2 or more total score category allies on the team, we will be able to revive with 60% health. So we do obviously have 2 Krillins, we have Master Roshi himself, we have quite a few total score category units on the team, which is going to allow us to use the revive should we need it. But as you can see here, we've managed to kind of recover from our somewhat precarious position. We've got Hercule, who should be more than fine. Boo obviously did well in terms of guarding. Very, very solid unit. And then we've got the Yamu and Spopovich. They are an interesting unit, and they're going to kind of be chilling around. You saw they took quite a bit of damage there. They do need to build up their stacks, but when they do, they will be more than fine. So the Yamu and the Spopovich, they obviously are one of the more recently Extremes Awakened units, and they recover 7% HP on their super attack, which is going to be very helpful in terms of keeping us topped up with health. They have attack and defense of 90%, Ki +2 with an additional attack of 20% for each super attack performed, but more importantly they gain 20% defense with each attack received, up to a max of 160%. So the reason why that's super important is because they need to take hits to build up that defense. If we don't get them hit early on, their defense can be caught lacking. Gohan provides them with an extreme issue because Gohan comes out so strong, he can actually hit them for quite a bit, as you did see there. So that's why I say using an item is like more than fine, because it's really honestly not too bad a maneuver to make. Like, you will be okay if you use an item, and it's just going to enable you to keep like yourself safe throughout the Gohan fight. The fight then drops back down. Yeah, the next 2 fighters, Killer and Jewel, both not too great. They both just have attack lowering that they can't have, so you should be able to breeze through them quite quickly. As you can see, we're really just kind of going through them at a good pace. Use this time to regain some health, reset up your rotations, and just get everything set up, because the next fight is going to be, it's going to step back up when we face Mighty Mask. So use this time to heal up if you can, grab same type orbs, maybe set up your Dokkan attack. I use mine, but maybe just set up your Dokkan attack for the Mighty Mask section, and then it's going to be much more worth your time. So yeah, in terms of this team build, this is obviously an entirely free-to-play team, which is great, but there are some changes in some other units that you can use if you want to, that might make your time a bit easier. So one of those units that you can utilize, or a couple of those units that you can utilize, are units like the Int Videl. The Int EZA Videl is pretty good, but she does rely on Pepe Gal's category units. You can use units like the Tech Krillin with hair, I guess, as I like to call them. Pretty solid unit who gives a whole bunch of support to other allies. He also gains a whole bunch of special bonuses when there's a Trunks kid or you know, a Goten kid in the team. He's also on Earthlings, but I mean, more importantly, he's just really solid as a floating support, so you can definitely utilize him if you want to. Very, very spectacular unit. Then we've got the World Tournament unit, you know, the Bloodstained Sanctuary Mercenary Tau. Very solid unit again. Maybe a little bit difficult to use here just due to his complex link set and his somewhat strange link set. But could be someone that's fun for you to utilize if you need a World Tournament. Well, I think he's actually not on World Tournament. If you need the Earthlings unit, he's not on the World Tournament category. So yeah, that's some other options. Strength Videl, really fantastic unit. You've got launch. You could realistically do possibly a full Pepe Gals team. With Videl, you can use her as a lead, where you also utilize, maybe the Infidel as well. She's also very, very solid. Then you can utilize launch as well, and that kind of gives you a pretty solid baseline. But it's just going to depend on you. There's enough options here for you to make. So yeah. Now in terms of the Mighty Mask phase, so Mighty Mask is immune to stunning, he's immune to sealing, immune to attack lowering and defense lowering. But because we have such a heavy physical type lineup, we actually don't have that much of a problem against him. He's relatively straightforward for us. Just because we have so many physical type units, we don't have that much of an issue fighting a int type unit like Mighty Mask. So for me, he wasn't really that big an issue. He just wasn't too big a problem. But for you, if your lineup obviously doesn't have a heavy amount of physical units, you might have a problem. Hercule himself obviously was a slight concern, but he never really got hit with a super attack, so wasn't really too concerned. So overall was more than fine. As you can see, Yama and Spopovich are still building stacks. And like I suggested, it is going to be good for you to really try and build them up early, because it is going to help you out a lot. But back to options on the Earthling side, that's kind of it, really, I would say, in terms of good options from the Earthling side. Very, very good options available. But it's just going to completely depend on how you function. Like I said, a Pepe Gals team could be really good. You've got Videl, you've got Mai now, you've got Int Videl, you've got physical launch, you've got physical Balmer, so you've got plenty of really strong options that you could utilize. You've also got physical Chi-Chi, strength Chi-Chi, so you do have plenty of relatively strong options to run on a Pepe Gals or Pepe Gals orientated unit. So yeah, pretty good options overall, just for you to kind of run with. But it's just going to depend, I guess, on you as a unit and everything like that. In terms of the Android 18 fight, so Android 18 poses some problems. She's quite strong. First off, she's not super strong, but she is quite challenging, probably on the same level as the Gohan that we fought in the beginning. She's immune to stunning, immune to attack lowering, immune to defense lowering, and immune to sealing. So she can be relatively challenging, especially with a high physical lineup where you need crits to kind of go through her quite quickly. So you're going to want to hope that you can get crits with your units. That's going to help you out a lot. But for the most part, you're just going to have to plow on forward. Fortunately, Krillin will have built some stacks at this point, and so you should have some kind of decent level of defense with which to run against her. So yeah, but as you can see, Master Roshi took a decent amount of damage there. So the only really thing I can suggest here is obviously just to kind of give your units crit equipment. Giving them crit equipment for, if you're following this exact lineup, will be quite helpful. It will allow you to do good damage. It will allow you to increase the rates at which you're doing damage. And so yeah, just overall you should have a little bit of a better time than I possibly had than doing this stage. So hopefully that will be able to help you. But again, it's just going to depend a little bit on your luck for this phase. But there are plenty of solid AGL units we have, and we do have Yama and Spopovich keeping us topped up, so that is at least something that's quite helpful. So yeah, overall it wasn't too bad. I wouldn't say she's impossibly strong or anything, but it is just something to be aware of, especially if you're running double Krillin. You do just need to be aware that you are going to be facing quite a few little issues when you come to the strength phase. But you should be able to handle them, and for the most part you shouldn't be too concerned or too fearful. Just focus and maybe use an item if you really are concerned, and then you'll be more than fine. So yeah, that's really it for those phases. Obviously the final phase is against Hercule. So Hercule is immune to sealing, which is obviously something that's quite intense. He also can randomly seal you as well, and also he can evade attacks. Now Hercule doesn't disable evasion, which does play into your hands. Like, it does make things quite easy, quite good for you. Really isn't too much of an issue, so yeah, you should realistically be fine, and you won't really have too many issues. Hercule does hit decently hard, but he doesn't hit massively hard, and he's pretty glass cannony. He doesn't really seem to have a lot of health or anything. As you can see, we're doing some really good damage to him, but he can hit quite hard. For Boo to take 3,000 with guard and everything is quite intense, but like I said, Hercule's not the biggest issue. I honestly think once you make it past the physical Gohan, you really shouldn't have that many issues with this stage, and you should be able to wrap it up pretty easily. Maybe use an item if you are concerned, or maybe have a little bit of doubts about like whether you can complete the stage or anything. But yeah, I would say it's relatively straightforward and probably quite easy actually once you get past physical Gohan. It's pretty much done and dusted at that point. So yeah, his evasion is going to irritate you, but it's not going to be the end of the world. And by now you should be so stacked up with Krillin and them that 1 or 2 crits is really just going to knock him out the park. So yeah, Hercule, not really that big an issue. Overall, the stage is fun, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily hard, and I think that reflects in the category challenges. And it's nice to be able to do an entire stage with only free-to-play units. I think that's also more than fine, and is something that is pretty cool. Only free-to-play units is quite nice always when it's available and when it's possible, and we're gonna knock out Hercule with Hercule, so that kind of just feels appropriate for some reason. So yeah, that's it for the stages. Obviously, like, we didn't manage to finish it in 15 turns, but you can easily do that with any team here, or any higher level team. You shouldn't really have that many issues. We just didn't have enough damage dealing units, I would say, but you could definitely get this done quite easily. You just would need to change up a couple things, maybe use a couple summonable units. If not, you could just get a bit luckier. Like I say, just stick some crit and attack equipment on all the units and you should be more than fine. As you can see, we completed most of the missions. So yeah, that's all pretty damn good, and some decent rewards as well. So yeah, all really good overall. 24 stones in total, really solid, really nice, and a nice little bonus for those of you who are saving for anniversary. But yeah, that's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video, or leave a comment and I'll see if I can answer it if you have any queries or anything. And bye.